Good morning, and welcome to your AI Daily Press morning podcast for September 04, 2025. Firstly, in international news, a significant gathering of world leaders has been taking place, with discussions focused on global trade and economic policies. Meanwhile, the United States has imposed tariffs on dozens of trading partners, citing national security concerns. The Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit has ruled that President Trump exceeded his authority by imposing these tariffs under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. The case is now headed to the Supreme Court, which will decide whether to hear it. In another development, the United States has launched a military strike on a boat in the Caribbean Sea, targeting alleged drug traffickers. This move has sparked concerns about potential U.S. intervention in Venezuela and the risks of a larger conflict. Experts warn that any attempt to militarily remove Venezuelan leader Nicolás Maduro could lead to widespread instability and suffering for the Venezuelan people. Lastly, in related news, the United States has resumed deportation flights to Venezuela and eased sanctions in some areas. The situation remains complex and volatile, with many questions still unanswered about the future of U.S.-Venezuela relations. That's all for now. We'll continue to provide updates and analysis on these developing stories as more information becomes available. Thank you for tuning in to the AI Daily Press Morning Podcast. I'm Walter, and we'll be back with more news after this break. Now for the latest in social and cultural news, here is Barbara Waters.
You, Walter, and then she'll know what's right now. Firstly, in Venezuela, the government has denied ties to the Tren de Aragua gang, which has been linked to smuggling and organized crime. This development comes as tensions rise between Venezuela and other nations over migration and security concerns. In Greece, a new law aimed at deterring undocumented migrants has sparked intense debate. The legislation introduces stricter penalties for rejected asylum seekers, including prison terms and fines. Human rights organizations have expressed concerns that the law may violate international law and Greece's obligations under the Geneva Convention. Lastly, in Australia, protests over population growth and migration policy have turned contentious, with extremist groups hijacking the debate. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has urged Australians to reject extremism and promote inclusivity and diversity. Experts warn that a nuanced and informed discussion is needed to address the challenges posed by rapid population growth. These stories highlight the complex and often contentious nature of migration policies around the world. We'll continue to provide updates and analysis on these issues as they unfold. Thank you for joining us on the AI Daily Press Morning Podcast. We'll be back with more news and insights after the break. Now for the latest in business and finance, here is Louis Riskweiser.
Thank you, Barbara. Firstly, Macy's has reported its strongest sales growth in years, topping Wall Street expectations and sending its shares soaring. The retail giant's bold new chapter initiative, which includes store closures and modernizing existing operations, seems to be paying off. However, economic uncertainty still looms on the horizon, and it remains to be seen how the company will navigate the challenges ahead. In other news, Alphabet Inc., the parent company of Google, has received a major boost after a recent antitrust ruling removed the risk of a breakup. This decision has sent shares of Alphabet surging, with many analysts raising their target prices for the stock. The removal of breakup risk has also amplified the potential for share buybacks, which could further boost the company's valuation. Lastly, we took a closer look at Broadcom's recent earnings report and its implications for the tech industry. While the company's revenue fell short of expectations, its strong guidance for the next quarter suggests that it is confident in its ability to drive growth. That's all for now. We'll be keeping a close eye on these stories and bringing you updates as more information becomes available. Thank you for tuning in to the AI Daily Press Morning Podcast. I'm Louis, and we'll see you tomorrow. Now for the latest in science and technology, here is Carl Starman.
Thank you, Louis. Firstly, astronomers have discovered a unique system that offers a dual benefit for brown dwarf science, providing an age benchmark to calibrate low-temperature atmosphere models and a mass benchmark to test evolutionary models. This breakthrough was made possible through international collaboration and highlights the wonders waiting to be uncovered in our cosmos. Secondly, as we gaze up at the night sky, the moon is currently in its waxing gibbous phase, with approximately 94% of its surface illuminated by the sun's gentle rays. With NASA's Artemis mission aiming to return humans to the moon by 2025, the agency is reevaluating its priorities and strategies to stay competitive in the space race. Lastly, researchers have made a significant breakthrough in how CRISPR-Cas systems operate, revealing a previously unknown role of the Cas9 enzyme. This discovery has major implications for our understanding of immune systems in prokaryotes, and could lead to further innovations in genetic engineering and new strategies for combating infectious diseases. That's all for today's summary. Tune in to our full episodes for more in-depth coverage of these fascinating stories, and join us next time on the AI Daily Press Morning Podcast. Stay curious, keep looking up, and remember that the universe is full of secrets waiting to be uncovered. Now for the latest in sports, here is Howard Closewell.
Thank you, Carl. First, we discussed the fascinating realm of prop bets, where you can wager on specific outcomes within a game that aren't directly tied to the final score or margin of victory. From quarterback passing yards to player points scored, prop bets offer a thrilling way to engage with your favorite teams and players. Next, we delved into the world of NBA news, where the league is set to introduce a new format for the All-Star Game. The proposed round-robin tournament will feature 2 USA teams and 1 world team competing in Ryder Cup-style games. This innovative approach aims to breathe new life into the event and capitalize on the growing international talent in the league. Lastly, we touched on the LA Clippers' state-of-the-art arena, the Intuit Dome, which is set to host the 2026 All-Star Game. This venue promises to provide an electric atmosphere for the league's biggest stars to shine. Now for the latest in travel and human interest, here is Charles Curl.
Thank you, Howard. Today, we're bringing you a summary of our recent stories. First, we took a look at the allegations against non-profit organization AIDailyPress, accused of misusing funds for personal gain. This raises important questions about accountability and transparency in the non-profit sector. We emphasized the need for charities to maintain transparency and ensure that donations are used for their intended purposes. Next, we traveled to Montana, where a group of innovative ranchers are challenging the status quo in big agriculture. The Old Salt Co-op is pioneering regenerative ranching techniques, processing livestock locally and selling directly to consumers. This approach not only supports their local community but also prioritizes soil health and biodiversity. Finally, we touched on the story of a Portuguese company's plans to build a lithium mine in Portugal, sparking concerns about environmental impact and community displacement. We highlighted the importance of balancing economic growth with social and environmental responsibility. These stories showcase the complexities and challenges faced by individuals and communities across the country. From accountability in nonprofits to sustainable agriculture and environmental responsibility, we're committed to bringing you thought-provoking discussions and extraordinary stories of ordinary Americans making a difference. That's all for today's summary. Thank you for tuning in to the AI Daily Press Morning Podcast. I'm Charles, and we'll see you again soon. Now for the latest in fashion and entertainment, here is Joan Streams.
Thank you, Charles. First up, we've got the scoop on the latest installment of the Conjuring franchise, The Conjuring: The Last Key. This final chapter brings closure to the story of paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, and while it's received mixed reviews, fans of the franchise are sure to be satisfied with the conclusion of their story. In other news, love is in the air, or should I say, love is on the rocks. We've got a comprehensive report on the latest string of high-profile breakups that have been making headlines. From reality TV stars to Hollywood A-listers, it seems like no one is immune to the ups and downs of love. And finally, if you're a fan of Downton Abbey, you'll be excited to know that we've got an inside look at the latest film, Downton Abbey, the grand finale. This fitting conclusion to the series provides fans with a sense of closure and satisfaction, despite a few flaws. That's all for today's recap. Tune in later for more in-depth coverage of these stories and other exciting updates from the world of entertainment. Thanks for joining me on the AI Daily Press Morning Podcast. Now for the latest in nature and environment. Here is David Attenacher.
Thank you, Joan. Firstly, we explored the remarkable discovery of a unique reproductive strategy in ants, where the queen ant can clone males from another species, producing hybrid workers essential for the colony's success. This phenomenon, known as obligate cross-species cloning, challenges our traditional understanding of species boundaries and has significant implications for evolutionary biology and ecology. Secondly, we delved into the story of the Iberian harvester ant, which can produce offspring of two completely different species, blurring the lines between species boundaries. This finding suggests that our current understanding of species may be too narrow and could lead to a re-evaluation of how we classify and define species. Lastly, we looked at the conservation efforts and biodiversity implications of these discoveries. Our experts in evolutionary biology and ecology will provide valuable insights into the significance of these findings and their potential impact on ecosystem dynamics. These stories remind us that nature is full of surprises and complexities, and there's still so much to discover and learn about the natural world. Tune into our upcoming episodes for more in-depth discussions with experts and further exploration of these fascinating topics. Thank you for joining me on this morning's podcast, and we'll see you soon. And that completes our morning podcast for today. Thank you for listening. Until this evening, I'm David Attenacher for AI Daily Press, the world's most unbiased news source.